I'm really excited about coming back to DMEXCO this year. I'll be on the central stage on day one with none other than Dana Anderson, who is one of the smartest, wittiest CMOs, global CMOs that I've ever met. I think we're going to have a great time on stage. We're going to be talking about the new creativity. The idea behind that is that in the digital age in which we live in, where there's intense media fragmentation, where even when you just look at phone usage, that is fragmented in and of itself, because you could be on the mobile web, you can be on a mobile app. But if you're a marketer trying to create an app, good luck getting in there, because 80% of the time that we spend on our mobile phones these days is spent in apps, but 80% of that time goes to about 5 apps. So unless you're Pandora, Gmail, Google Maps, Facebook, good luck trying to get your app downloaded and, just as importantly, used again. So there's a lot of fragmentation out there. Consumers are spending more and more of their time on mobile, but they're also choosing to either ignore ads, or, as we've been hearing quite a bit lately, they're choosing to block them out. In fact, eMarketer just came out with another forecast on the ad blocking phenomenon in the US. And what we found is that as of this year in 2016, some 26%, or 1 in 4 internet users, is using an ad blocker. The incidence is a little higher with the desktop, much lower currently with the mobile phone at about 8%, but that's going to grow pretty rapidly. So you've got 1 in 4 people blocking ads now, and that's across all consumers. If you look at millennials, the numbers are much higher, 30–40%. Next year, 2017, we'll be looking at about 1 in 3 people who are blocking ads. And part of the problem is that advertising as we know it, where we disseminate ads in kind of a shotgun approach to as many consumers as possible, interrupting the experience that they came for, or the content that they were seeking. That distraction approach is having less and less effect. Whether it's through ad blocking, you've got the viewability issue, and you've just got the fact that there's banner blindness and people can choose to just not look at your content, whether it's a banner ad or a video or a mobile native ad. It doesn't matter. Unless marketers think of new ways of thinking about creativity. And when I say new ways of thinking about creativity, I came up with a term a few years ago that I like to bring out again, which is this idea of magnetic content. When you think about it, most messages are pushed out with the hope that somebody will go, oh, that actually resonates with me, I'll go buy that product. But this day and age, with social media and all this media fragmentation, you have to flip it, and it's less about pushing messages out, and it's more about attracting the consumer in. That's why I call it magnetic content. If you think of a haystack where you're trying to pull out the needles, right? The needles being the consumers. If you have a magnet will pull those needles out of the haystack and go, bang onto the magnet. That is what you're trying to do with magnetic content. So that means maybe spending less time with, doing programmatic and looking at all the data and numbers and so on. And not that that's not important and won't continue to happen, but it means that you need to spend more time as a marketer thinking how you can create best-in-class content. Magnetic content that is inherently, in and of itself, compelling, entertaining, tells a story, is fun, useful. You think of apps that actually help somebody, like Clorox had an app for a while where you could look up a particular stain and find out how you can eradicate it, whether it's through Clorox products or something else. The point being is that if it's just an ad that's pitching your product, it's going to have less and less impact. You need to be thinking of how you can create content that's an extension of your brand, but that draws the consumer in. And critically, there's an opportunity to not only reach the consumers you thought you wanted to reach because they fit a certain demographic group or a certain psychographic group, but you may find that if you create really good, compelling content, you'll draw consumers in that you weren't expecting, and they will in turn tell others who are like them, and you can build your franchise that way. That's what I'm going to talk about from a numbers and conceptual perspective. And what Dana Anderson's going to do is talk about how they're doing that at Mondelez, how they're approaching that new creativity. And just as importantly as how do you create this new kind of magnetic content, it's how do you do it efficiently, how do you do it at scale, and how do you do it in real time. Those are the real challenges of today, and that requires data management, it requires really sophisticated marketing attribution, it requires really creative people, and it requires restructuring your organizations and perhaps your relationship with your partners, whether it be ad agencies or best in breed content companies that are producing content that consumers welcome.